Fly ball to left. Get going. Baseball. Gone! Happy birthday! Mr. Three-run homer strikes again.
You're listening to Darnell the Chumps, Darnell's Chumpy Wisconsin Sports Show. Hello. This is Darnell's Chumpy Wisconsin Sports Show. I am Darnell the Chump, the host. It has been a minute. It really has. I apologize, man. Stuff has just been so crazy for the last, I don't know, has to be 2 months now at this point since I last uploaded a podcast here. Life happens. My wife is getting a lot more pregnant now. Not that she wasn't pregnant already in March, April, May, and June, but now we're a couple months out. It's, getting a little bit more real. A lot of stuff going on during the summer. So, just stuff like that. We're gonna have a boy, by the way. Keep up those male genes here. Darnell the Chump genes. You got Darnell Jr. coming here in December. And on top of that, I didn't have much to say in July. It was kind of a slow month. The Brewers were, kind of meh. There was no Packers. There was no Badgers. There was no Bucks. There were the Olympics. I guess the Olympics kind of were okay, but the fanfare and whatnot around the Olympics that was there when I was a kid is no longer there for me. Maybe that's part of being an adult growing up. Things get less exciting as you get older, but lots of excitement to replace the Olympics. I am clean shaven as well, if anyone cares. Just that's what's new with old Darnell the Chump here. So there's also a lot new with Wisconsin sports. So this can be a jam-packed show here today. A jam-packed Wisconsin sports show. And I'm going to go ahead and start it off. I guess I'm going to tell you what exactly I'm going to talk about to start. So I'm going to be talking about the Brewers for obvious reasons. I'm going to be talking about the Packers, and I'm going to be talking about the Badgers, and specifically the Badger football team. No Bucks. Giannis played in the Olympics for Greece and didn't do a whole lot. I mean, it was a one-man show. He was playing with a bunch of YMCA guys against NBA talent. Not going to do a whole lot. That's just, it's not how it works. So we're going to start off with the Brewers. And here we go. Without further ado, your Milwaukee Brewers are 81-57 on September 3rd in 2024, the year of our Lord. That they are so impressive as a team. I feel like I say this every year with the Brewers, but this year is just it feels so different. They have so much fun. Everything they do is, Jackson Churio, Willie Adames, Bryce Trent, they all have smiles on their faces the entire time. Like, it could be down 10-6. They're not often trailing, but when they are, it's like, okay, whatever. We're doing great. In July, that was tough. We lost Christian Yelich to some injury, and then now he's gone for the year. If you didn't hear, that was 3 weeks ago's news, but they lost Christian Yelich in July. Devin Williams came back in July, and that, I guess, towards the end of July, and that kind of bolstered him a little bit. But it felt like everything was kind of, they were losing things as opposed to gaining things more. And then August turned around, and They went on a couple of big runs. They had a winning streak of 6, a winning streak of 5, another winning streak of 5, and then that all equaled out 19-9 August, and they rode that momentum right here into September. So um, I'm not going to say much bad stuff about the Brewers right now. They're doing fantastic here, and one of the biggest reasons that they're doing fantastic is because Jackson Chourio. I said that I said that as a joke because on Fox on Saturday, the stupid announcers could not figure out how to pronounce Jackson Chourio's name. It was ridiculous. Like, is it chorizo? Is it chaurio? Is it churio? It's Jackson Chourio. It's Jackson Chourio. Now, Tobias Myers actually had an interview on that game on Saturday, and he explained how to say the name, even though the guy's basically a household name at this point. Even some Cubs fans would probably agree Jackson Chourio is him, and he is him. He is 20 years old. He has 13 go-ahead RBI hits as a rookie, 20 years old. 2 grand slams as a rookie, 20 years old. 18 home runs and counting as a rookie, 20 years old. 20 plus steals and doubles. He's got 22 steals, 22 doubles as a rookie, as a 20-year-old. And a 280 average after having a 204 average going into June. So, since June 1, guy has just been tearing the league up. People said, oh, well, he can't hit low breaking balls. So he goes to the lab and he figures out how to hit low breaking balls. Now he hits them for home runs. Oh, he can't handle the high fastball. I watched him obliterate 3 high fastballs in the last week. The guy doesn't have a hole in his game right now, and it is pretty awesome to watch a young kid do that to these major league vets. So, um, let's just look at the last week for Jackson. Okay, on Friday, he had the go-ahead RBI in the 7th. All right, um, just a hit, but it was still a go-ahead hit, and it gave him the lead. Saturday, he had a go-ahead solo shot in the 9th, just pummeled a baseball in the 9th. Go ahead. Monday, insurance grand slam in the 7th, right? So that was against the Cardinals yesterday. Hits a grand slam after calling his shot. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the article, but according to a couple of Brewers players, Jackson Chourio, before the inning even started, said, I think we're going to load the bases, and I think I'm going to hit a grand slam. And the bases loaded up for him. Bryce Terang lined out. Jackson Chourio came up and just crushed a grand slam. You can't make this stuff up. The dude is 20 years old. He's the youngest person in this league right now that's doing anything of note. And, after a very lackluster July, the Brewers, they are on a hot streak of all hot streaks right now. So it's been really, really impressive. They have a 10-game lead in the NL Central going into the final 20 games. This is really, really, really impressive stuff from the Brewers. Now, Jackson Chourio is not the only one that is making it happen. There are other notable Brewers, and I can't even believe that we're not leading off with him, but Willy Adames was the one who just hit the home run, right, that we were listening to at the very beginning of the show here. That was his 29th home run. It happened on its 29th birthday yesterday, and it just happened to be the 5th game in a row that Willy Adames hit a home run, which tied the Brewers franchise record, and he can go for another one tonight to break the record. So, my goodness, nobody in the world is hotter than Willy Adames right now, and he's going to make a boatload of money at the end of this season, wherever he ends up. Obviously, it'd be awesome if he ended up back in the Brewers uniform because we love Willy. We love Willy Adames here in Wisconsin. And he's now hitting 255 going into tonight with 29 homers and 99 RBIs. And, we're 2 days into September, 3 days in September. Like that's some impressive stuff there. Another one, after a brutal June and July, just brutal. Like he was one of the worst catchers offensively in baseball in June and July. William Contreras has turned it around on offense. So he is hitting 280 again. He got all the way down to like in the 250s back in July, and he's back up to 280. He's hitting a couple home runs a week. He's up to 20 for the year. He's got 80 RBIs. He has returned to form. He's driving the ball up. He's not just hitting the grounders and the line drives. He's hitting for power. It's the launch angle and all that stuff, from 2018 is making its reappearance here with William Contreras. And I love to see it. I really do. Um, you know, you could really say this about a lot of the different Brewers, but Garrett Mitchell has made contributions the last couple of weeks. Sal Frelick, even though he has like the worst batted ball rate, exit velocity in the MLB, still gets the damn bloop singles um, with 2 runners on, and somehow gets his RBIs that way. It's just insane. The timely hitting, the running, it's all coming together for the Brewers. Um, Aaron Savali and Frankie Montas. Okay, 2 deadline acquisitions for the Brewers. Now, um, I'm gonna be playing a clip from back in March. I called into one of my I would say one of my good buddies, because I talk to him most nights on the phone at his radio show. And back in March, I called into his show and I said, I really feel like these Brewers' expectations are low. I 77 wins does not seem like, I think the Brewers always outperform these expectations. And he was like, are you sure about that? I mean, they're the Brewers, they don't, their rotation's not very good. And I was like, no, you know what? I think the rotation's going to be fine, and I think they're going to bolster it with arms at the deadline. And I said that back in March before the season even started. And then in July, they went out and they got Aaron Savali, they got Frankie Montas, Aaron Savali from Tampa Bay, Montas from Cincinnati, and they were both struggling this year before getting traded to the Brewers. And they both have really, really been impressive um, since then. And like the Brewers are 5-1 in Montas's starts as a Brewer in the last month. 5-1. Savali not quite as good. I think they're 6-3, but part of that is just not getting run support. If you're a pitcher, you can't really control your record sometimes. It's just their ERAs are both down. And it's been really impressive. The other one, Tobias Myers. So Tobias Myers, Toby Myers. He was the one who did the interview on Saturday on Fox, and he's figured it out. He's 26 years old. He's figured it out. Looks like he's a number 1 or number 2 option in the Brewers rotation here. And he's really saved their season from like an inning standpoint. Like he's starting to eat up more innings per start. And every time he's on the mound, I feel like we're only going to use 1 or 2 relievers, maybe 3, right? And he's a bullpen saver. So, I don't know. I've just been expecting this though. I know I can talk a little crap about the Brewers every once in a while, but it's been truly impressive here over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. There hasn't been, one major issue that I've come across. We played the Dodgers really closely. We've played, we kicked the crap out of the Cleveland Guardians. Um, we've played some unfortunate games against like the St. Louis Cardinals. They ended up winning in a extra inning blow up to us, but there's always going to be stuff that you can nitpick, and I refuse to allow that to define my Brewers, right? So that's I'm just looking up the conversation I had with Grant Bills here. So I'm going to be pulling this up here. Just give it a second, and you'll be able to hear my conversation with Grant here. So
Are we mad the Brewers didn't fork out that money to sign Paul? Just got to kind of find the happy medium there, but I don't think they're going to be a 70 win. I don't understand. That was what I thought about the tailgating. As for the Brewers as a whole, my brother-in-law actually sent me an article today about the 5 lowest MLB like plus minus wins on the season, and the Brewers are on there, and their projection is like 71 wins from this one sports book.
71 wins.
He's like, should I take the over? I'm like, smash the over.
Put
They're
the
going
mortgage
over 80
on the order.
You know, like
the totals keep going down. They keep going down, Darnell.
I don't understand it. They don't have fantastic starting pitching, but they're going to be hitting on a level that we probably haven't seen since like 2011.
Check.
So I don't know. Just got to kind of find the happy medium there, but I don't think they're going to be a 70-win team.
They're going to score more runs, and they're going to hit with more pop, and I think they're going to be more fun to watch. I also understand, like, the closer we get to the season and the more intently I actually have to confront this starting rotation, it's not great. It's not great. You know what I mean? Like, if Freddie misses a month, we're kind of left without one serious high-level starting pitcher. And I really like Wade Miley. I hope he can stay healthy. I don't know what DL Hall can be. I don't know what Robert Gasser can be.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure I know what Colin Ray is, and that's part of the problem with this team in this rotation. That would be my concern. If you're going to look me in the eye and say the Brewers are going to go under 80 wins because of their starting rotation, I'm going to look back and tell you I'm not sure that I can disagree. Right? As a fan, I might want to wish cast good performances and good years on some of those guys. But if you don't think that starting pitching group is enough, I see why you feel that way.
Well, here's what I'm feeling in my heart, fan, right? And maybe it won't happen, maybe it will. The Brewers outperform expectations in the first half of the season, and then our front office goes out and grabs another arm. And then all of a sudden that 80 gets, we're looking at 90, 95 with 2 aces, right?
I suppose.
That's what I'm thinking.
Are we mad the Brewers didn't fork out that money to sign Blake Snell? It was essentially a pillow deal. It was a really expensive pillow deal with a player option. But by the way, great offseason for Scott Boras.
So yeah, that is me talking with Grant Bills on the Wisco Sports Show, not the Darnell's Chumpy Wisconsin Sports Show, but the Wisco Sports Show, just about my prediction for the Brewers season, and I couldn't have been more spot on. I don't like to take victory laps because I don't do a whole lot of them, so it just feels weird when I'm right. But dang, I was right on this one. 90, 95 wins. That's probably where they're going to end up, right? They picked up an arm at the deadline, actually 2 arms at the deadline, which is what I was talking about, Savali and Montas. And all of a sudden their projection went from that 70, that 80 up to the 90. Like that they're doing exactly what they needed to do. And I couldn't be more happy for those guys out there. So this is where Darnell was right. That's where Darnell was definitely right on that one. So, and that sound means that it is time for the wonderful Chumps Chili Hot Takes. You heard the spicy whatnot there. So here is the first hot take of September. Weddings are not worth what they cost. All right, congratulations. You found true love. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it by throwing a $20,000 party that you get to enjoy very little of. Oh, and by the way, it's going to take months to plan, if not years, to pull this off. And you're most likely going to put little strains and small strains on your relationship that you're supposed to be celebrating. Just elope and travel, you nerds. Okay. Weddings are great to go to, not as great to witness. Best day of my life, right? Until the birth of my child. But would I have rather spent the money on a vacation? Yes. Would I have rather put money down on the house that we bought? Yes. Elope and travel. That's the hot take of the week here. That has been Darnell's Chump's hot takes of the week. That's a chilly hot take. All right. We're going to switch on over to the Packers now. Like I said, we have a lot to talk about today, and we're just going to keep on flying through here. So, 53-man rosters were made last week. So all the cuts for preseason, all the cuts for training camp, they were made last week, and we have our 53-man roster for the Packers, the Green Bay Packers, and they're opening their season already this Friday against Brazil. In Brazil against Philly. So they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles in Sao Paulo, Brazil on Friday in the evening. Not a fan of the Brazil move. I think that if you have to go to a third world country to play football, whatever, it is what it is. I'm not going to get too worked up about it. I think I actually talked about it in one of the last episodes I did back in June, but it's all good. The Packers are riding some insane momentum right now. Jordan Love got paid, and he got paid 4 years, $220 million. Chump change, right? It's basically nothing. He played one series in the preseason. The first game of the preseason, it was a 63-yard touchdown to Dontavian Wicks, and he looks to build on his epic late season performances and stretches and whatnot. So, if he can play even 90% this season of what he did in the final 10 games of last season, he'll be an MVP candidate. It's just, so he's Jordan Love saying and doing all the right things here to start his second year as a full-time starter. So I am super, super excited for this Packers offense. So I'm going to kind of just go down the three-pronged attack here of the Packers, starting with their wide receiver room. In my opinion, my super unbiased opinion, I'm a big Packer fan. If you can't tell, I'm showing my Donald Driver jersey. Wide receiver room is stacked, absolutely stacked. You got Christian Watson, fantasy wide receiver 1 upside, right? So if he has a season where he is not injured and he's getting the balls thrown his way that he should be, he's going deep. They're hitting him a couple times deep a game. Fantasy wide receiver 1 across the board, he could be there. All right. He just needs to get touchdowns. Romeo Doubs is our number 2. Consistent production, great great chemistry with Jordan Love. So assuming that chemistry sticks around from last year, that we heard how great of friends they are and whatnot, Romeo Doubs, great second option there. Jaden Reed, slot guy, super fast, running wheel routes, running little slants, picking up third downs. Just a little speed demon. He's got great hands, and he's great in the red zone and on third down. Dontavian Wicks, my favorite. He's on my fantasy team this year. He's got to take my fantasy team to new heights. He's always open. Dontavian Wicks is always open. I tweeted that like 13 times last year because he's always open. Dontavian Wicks is always open. All right. He's got that Devontae Adams route running ability. It's insane. He sticks one foot in the ground, he goes the other way, and boom, he's open. Throw him the ball, Jordan. Get him the ball. Get Dontavian Wicks the ball. He's the 4th wide receiver in this room. They still have Bo Melton. He's a kind of a beast last year. He had their first 100-yard game of the season last year, and he's their 5th wide receiver. So they cut Grant DeBose. Didn't take 7. It's fine. Whatever. They have a running back room. They went out in the offseason. They picked up Josh Jacobs from the Raiders, the Las Vegas, formerly known as the Oakland Raiders. And he might be one of the only backs that could be an upgrade for Aaron Jones. They lost Aaron Jones to the Vikings. It kind of hurt in the heart a little bit. But we have to just kind of move on. We have to figure things out on the go, and that's just how it goes. So, Josh Jacobs is a good replacement. I think he's going to have a healthy year. I think he's going to be a really, really solid like check down for Jordan Love as well in the receiving game. So, if everybody somehow covers their top 4 guys on their receivers, then you find Josh Jacobs in the flat, boom, 15, 20 yards. He did it against he did against the Packers last year a couple times. So, um, they also have Marshawn Lloyd. That's their secondary back because AJ Dillon broke his neck again and probably will not be playing in the Packers uniform ever again. So that was a little bittersweet, but AJ Dillon hasn't really been relevant for like 3 years. If we're not going to kid ourselves here. So Marshawn Lloyd, I all I wrote on him was I need to see more. He's a rookie, played at USC. Um, there were some questions about his top line speed. He's got a good little burst, but I got to see him in actual game action, and then I'll have a little bit more to say maybe next week about Marshawn Lloyd. Their tight end room, I just wrote embarrassment of riches. They have Luke Musgrave and they have Tucker Kraft. Luke Musgrave, fantasy tight end number 1 upside. If he gets touches, if he piles up 5 to 6 receptions a game, 55 yards and a touchdown, look out. That Luke Musgrave can run the seam routes and really take the top off defenses. So look for Luke Musgrave to have himself a big year. Just needs to stay healthy. Tucker Kraft came on last year when Musgrave went down and played his absolute heart out to the point where when Musgrave came back, they did a lot of 2 tight end stuff because you couldn't take either of them off the field. He's super consistent, especially on third down. And Tucker Kraft is going to be an impressive guy, and I think the tight ends in general. So that's their offense. There's not a hole there. There's not. They are an impressive group, and I think that and I'll get to the predictions a little bit later. But yeah, that is absolutely impressive stuff from the Packers, and definitely looking forward to the season on offense. Now we switch over to the defensive side for the Packers. They got a new coordinator in the offseason, Jeff Hafley. Don't know a whole lot about the guy. He's implementing a 4-3. We've run a 3-4 since Dom Capers in like 2009. So new system. It looks like they're trying to be a little bit more aggressive with their backs, and it's their D backs. So we'll see how that works, playing a little more up and down as opposed to left and right. We'll just start on the edge. Right, it's scary how good they could be. Rashawn Gary, he could have 15 sacks this season if he stays healthy, making that kind of next leap to stardom from the sacking standpoint. Preston Smith, I didn't write anything because he's just been consistent since he got here in 2018. So I look for the longest tenured Packer to continue to play well and play really consistently. 5 to 10 sacks. Dropping back into coverage if he needs to. That was a joke. We don't want him to drop back in coverage. He's a D. He's technically a defensive end at this point. And then we got Lucas Van Ness. Now Van Ness showed some flashes last year, and I'm fully expecting him to have over 10 sacks this year, assuming that he sees the field the way he should, gets the snaps that he should. So that edge group could be really good. Scary how good they could be. Defensive tackle, I wrote finally some depth. Because it feels like they've been just slaughter that position for the last couple of years, where they're constantly trying to draft people to replace holes, and people get injured. Kenny Clark misses time. Kenny Clark's the anchor, right? Assuming he stays healthy this year, he's an absolute anchor on that defensive line that should be able to stop some run. Hopefully they can stop the run. TJ Slayton finished on a high note last year. Looking to kind of turn that into a big year this year. And then Devontae Wyatt, who was their first round or second round pick last year. He was impressive in camp, according to the coaching staff, and he looked pretty impressive in the first preseason game that he played. So that defensive end, defensive tackle, that group up front 8, whatever you want to call them, they could be an impressive group this year. The linebacking core, right? So this is going to be just 3 guys at this point that are starters. Not in the 4-3, there's 4 defensive linemen and then 3 linebackers behind it. So they have a high ceiling. Quay Walker, 100 tackle season incoming. He's gotta, right? That's the next progression for him. Staying on the field, no suspensions. Don't rough up any any workers for the Lions or anything like that, right? And then get 100 tackles this year. Just wreak havoc. He's a physical beast. He's a specimen. Go wreak havoc. Isaiah McDuffie, he had a good year last year. I'm looking for multiple interceptions and multiple sacks this year. So I'd like to see him take the next step as well. And then we got Edgerrin Cooper. He's not starting. He's technically second string here, but he should get a lot of snaps. And he is a guy that kind of popped in preseason games. So I'm hoping that we see same kind of development out of him that we saw out of Quay Walker. So that's the linebackers room. Cornerback, high ceiling, low floor. So Jair Alexander is Jair Alexander. He locked down Justin Jefferson last year. He talks a lot of crap. He's got a really weird voice. Can't talk like that. I'm Jair. He talks weird. I don't even really know what to say about Jair Alexander except that he can be an all-pro and a top 5 cornerback in the NFL when he's right. So if he does that, great. We're going to be cooking with fire here. If not, then I don't really know what to say because the other guy we have is Eric Stokes, who's in a prove-it year. And the thing he needs to prove is that he can stay on the field because he has not done that for the first 3 years of his career. So prove it, Eric Stokes, stay on the field and lock down those wideouts. Other than that, we have safety. That's the last group here on the defense, and I wrote new blood because that's what we've got. We've got new blood. We've got Xavier McKinney, came over from the New York Giants. That was our biggest free agent signing this offseason. He could be an all-pro. Probably should be an all-pro if he plays the way that he should. He's a ball hawk. He's always flying to the football. He's got great hands. He makes those picks. I'm really looking for him to have a big year here. And then Javon Bullard was a draft pick this year, and he's starting week 1. So that means that the coaching staff saw enough out of him in preseason and camp to hand the reins to a young guy. And I guess that has to instill some confidence, but it's also a little bit scary. So we got a lot of new blood there. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that defense turns out. I'm gonna continue with the Packers here, but kicker, man, what the heck are we doing with the kickers right now? We had Anders Carlson, he got cut. 53 man, he got cut. Greg Joseph, who came in to push Anders Carlson to be better, also got cut. And then they brought in Braden Narvison from the Tennessee Titans to be our everyday kicker. He was an undrafted rookie free agent. So I wrote we shall see because kicker was always going to be a bit of a question mark, and now it's just a complete question mark. And I don't have any idea what the idea is there. And yeah, that's that's about it. But we got Keyshawn Nixon returning kicks and punts with the new NFL rules for kick returns, especially. That should be at least an exciting time, right? We might get some punt return touchdowns. That'd be cool. My predictions. All right, so I'm gonna start with the week 1 here. We play the Eagles in Brazil. I'm gonna take the Packers 31-26. All right, 3-1 to 2-6. 31-26 Packers this week. And then my predictions for the season are as follows. I think the Packers go 12-5. 1 game ahead of Detroit, who's be 11-6, and a wild card team. I think that Minnesota is going to be 8-9, and I think the Bears are going to be 7-10. I'm not believing the Caleb Williams hype. Not yet. I got to see it on the field first. I got to see it in the regular season on the field. All right? I got to see that. I think the Packers are going to be a top 3 scoring offense. It's one of my predictions for the season. I think they end in the top 3. Could be 1, probably not 1, but they definitely top 3. Top 10 scoring defense. This is a big one. They need to be a top 10 scoring defense if they are going to have the season that everyone expects them to have, right? They need to have that ability to dominate teams, right? Win 35-10, that kind of thing. And then I think they're on four Pro Bowl players. And I'm not going to give you my playoff predictions because I don't have them yet, because I haven't done my research on the whole league yet. So that'll be coming later on. Probably not this month, probably next month, maybe November. I don't know. We'll have to see. And if things go the way that they should, Jordan Love should finish top 3 in the MVP votes, right? So at the very least, top 3 MVP. He could win the whole dang thing. He really could. He's poised to have that kind of season this year. So, I mean, that's the Packers, man. That I just went through a lot really quickly. So, if you have questions, as always, DM me on Twitter, X. I'm at Scary Russian Spy, Darnell's Chumpy Wisconsin Sports Show. It's with my Darnell the Chump. That's who I am, right? DM me. I don't give it, or don't. I don't care. But like, you know, if you listen to the show and you're like, yeah, you're wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove it. Show me I'm wrong. I don't, whatever it is what it is. They are my takes. And I've been curating these takes for 2 months. I've been talking about my takes for 2 months. Okay. So I'm just talking about it. We have one more solemn topic to talk about. And that is the Wisconsin Badgers football team. Now, what in tarnation was that on Friday? Like, is Western Michigan that good? The Badgers are 1-0. I need to point that out. They won the game. Okay, they won 28-14. But what the? That was so ugly. It was terrible to watch. Terrible. It was one of the worst watchable games that I've ever witnessed as a Badger fan. I've been a Badger fan for dang near 30 years. Okay? No. That was bad. They had 388 yards on offense and they only managed 28 points. They dominated first downs, 27-13 in first downs. They ran 82 plays against 52 for Western Michigan. They held the ball for 35 out of the 60 minutes, which means they had a 10-minute cushion over the other team's time of possession. And they only won by 14. And it was 14-13 in the fourth quarter before they scored 2 late touchdowns. They had 0 explosive plays and nothing over 17 yards on one play. Like, they were so bad in the red zone. They missed a field goal. It was just, it felt like I was watching like a really gross video, like it's like a slug getting eaten by a different slug and you don't really want to watch it, but you can't really take your eyes off of it because it's gross, but it's like I need to see what happens at the end of this. That was the Badger game. It's like I'm getting no utility out of this, but I'm still gonna watch because it's the Badgers and I need to watch because my brain says keep watching, something good will happen, even though your heart knows nothing's going to happen. That's good. Um, that was the game on Friday. It was just crap followed by more crap. And then Luke Fickell talking after the game was just like, we played well. And I was like, you're full of crap. So, um, I got some grades. I'm going to hand down some grades here. All right. Starting with, actually, there's only going to be one person that I grade, and that is Tyler Van Dyke. Decision making, sir, you get a D. A D. You threw some balls into some tightly contested areas that if it was anybody else, like Bama in a week and a half, that gets picked and most likely pick sixth. That gets taken back for 6, and you will be riding the wood, the bench. Okay? running. And by running, I need to preface staying on your feet. You get a D minus. Like, is it your first time running on turf, man? You were slipping and sliding everywhere. Like, this isn't a water park. Stay on your feet. If you're running a quarterback draw, stay on your feet. If you're going to run RPO, which is run pass option, and you're going to pass it, don't fall over when no one's near you as you're trying to pass the ball. Okay. Playmaking, I'll give you a B. You made some plays, even though you were slipping and sliding. You made some plays. You scored a touchdown with your feet. I got to give you that. All right. Deep ball, D. D for deep ball. You threw one and you overthrew him by about 20 yards. So, yeah, okay. Short passes, you get an A plus. You were right on with your short passes. You threw like 35 of them and you completed about 18 of them, 20 of them. They are short, within 10 yards or so of the line of scrimmage. Great. Congratulations. You can throw short passes. So can my my avatar on College Football 25, who's like a 69 overall. Okay. Your name, you get an F. Tyler Van Dyke. Really? Van Dyke. Like, you're gonna have a name like Van Dyke, and I'm not gonna get to make fun of your name. Like, that's okay. Whatever. That aside, okay. Tyler Van Dyke, overall grade C minus. Stuff to work on for next week. South Dakota's a tough FCS school. I say that, considering Idaho gave Oregon all they could handle. North Dakota State gave Colorado all they could handle. I just don't go into this one lightly. All right. Ches, Malusi, and Tawi Walker. They showed a lot of power, not a lot of burst. And I know that Ches is coming off of a pretty devastating injury last year. So that might just be something that he's got to kind of work back into. Probably going to be a hot hand type situation this year for our running back. So whoever's making the plays early in the game is going to get the lion's share of the touches that game. So wholly unimpressed with the Badgers this week. Dominated all facets of the game, just couldn't score, refused to score, and made it way closer and gave every Wisconsin fan a heart attack and then bored them to death with the play calling. So I expect to see a lot of improvement here this week, and I feel like we kind of need to see improvement, because if we see another stinker like this one and then you got to play Alabama at home the next week, you're going to get absolutely pile driven in that next week, and I don't want to see that. I mean, I'm going to have to watch it anyways because it's the Badgers, man. But it's just killing me, just kills me. But I'm going to finish it off with one other thing, and that is Darnell's Dairyland Cower rankings. Cow, like the cower, like you can see the cows, right? Okay. The Darnell's Dairyland Cower rankings, I'm going to rank the top 5 positions in baseball. Okay. Number 1, and this is my opinion, and these are kind of my hot takes a little bit, but more of the hot take list version, whatever. Number 1, center field. Fast. He's got range, climbing the walls. You know, usually plays with the rules a little bit. Usually one of the better hitters on the team. Number 1, center fielder. All right. Number 2, second baseman. Maybe a little bit of a weird one. People didn't think that the second baseman would ever be that. Anyways, always plays the second fiddle to the shortstop, right? But the throw to first on a double play from short is a lot easier, in my opinion, because you're going towards the bag as opposed to away from the bag than shortstop. So I think that the second baseman makes a better play on a double play than the shortstop. And number 3 is the shortstop himself, the leader of the defense, no doubt there, and usually a little bit overrated as a defender. So he's got the best arm, but maybe it's a little bit errant sometimes. Number 4, I have catcher, plays at home, and just in general in baseball, plays at home, have always and will always be the most exciting play on a baseball field. So the catcher is the one that makes those happen. You gotta slap that tag down on someone, or in the case of the Mighty Megan softball team, step on the plate, because there's no tagging at home in rec league softball. And number 5, I have the third base. You're the hot corner. You got a big arm over there. You're taking the hardest hit balls from righties that are just, jumping over a pitch here and just tattooing one right at the third baseman. You got to be ready, and then you got to make a big throw across the diamond there. So those were the top 5 there. If you have, you can disagree. That's fine. But left fielders and right fielders are out there to take up some space. First baseman's usually just the biggest guy with the biggest glove. Pitcher, anybody can pitch. Just, can you throw strikes, right? And then that's pretty much it. Again, you are able to find me on social media. You can email the show at darnellschumpy@gmail.com. It's one word, darnellschumpy@gmail.com. There's no asterisk in there, okay? There's no apostrophe. There's no nothing like that. It's just darnellschumpy@gmail.com. Or Scary Russian Spy on Twitter. Find me on YouTube, because I have the setup and whatnot now, right? So, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching here first time, let me know. But this is what we're back. We're back, and it is football season, baby. This is the best time of the year. Like, summer is ending, and that used to kill me as a kid. And now I'm just like, whatever. I got to work anyways. Got to work during the summer. I got to work during the winter. Whatever, man. Let's play some freaking football, right? Are you ready for some football? Monday night football, Saturday night football, Sunday night football, Thursday night football, football all day, all night. America. Peace.